Hey fam, glad you clicked in, because what's happening out in Dalton, Illinois? Phew, it's not politics anymore. It's a full-blown reality show with taxpayer funding. I'm talking betrayal, backroom drama, scandal, and a political plot twist. So wild it could have come straight from Netflix. Grab your popcorn, because what's about to unfold? It's got layers, deep ones. Let's rewind the clock to May 2021, a night that was supposed to mark a new chapter in Dalton's story. A small, predominantly black community made history, electing Tiffany Henyard as their first ever young black woman mayor. She came like a storm, bold and charismatic, promising change, unity, and empowerment. The people believed her. They rooted for her. They saw hope in her. For once, Dalton felt like the comeback was real. But in politics, hope comes with an expiration date. And in Dalton, that date hit faster than anyone expected. Instead of cleaning up corruption, Tiffany became the headline. Allegations started flying that she was running through taxpayer funds like a VIP credit card, buying hair bundles, luxury candles, and home goods while residents were struggling to keep their lights on. The woman elected to serve the people was allegedly out here serving herself. And when anyone dared to question her spending, she didn't just respond, she attacked. Town hall meetings turned into verbal cage matches. The clips went viral. Tiffany snapping at lifelong residents, many of them black, who just wanted transparency. Y'all should be ashamed, she barked. Y'all black and sitting here attacking a black woman that's empowered. But empowerment isn't immunity, and shouting couldn't drown out the truth. The tension reached a boiling point. Investigations piled up. Protests grew louder. Residents who once cheered her name were now demanding her removal. And when the smoke finally cleared, Dalton made a move nobody thought they'd see so soon. They voted in new leadership. The people said, enough. They chose a new mayor, Jason House. And let me tell you, his swearing-in wasn't your typical quiet oath ceremony. City Hall overflowed. The energy was electric. You could feel the relief in the crowd, the hope reborn. When Jason House placed his hand on that Bible, promising honesty and integrity, the cheers shook the building. One resident whispered, "This isn't just a mayor, this is redemption." And for the first time in years, Dalton had a reason to believe again. Now, under Mayor House, the mission is crystal clear: rebuild trust, restore order, and clean up the wreckage left behind. The community's rallying behind him like never before, hungry for transparency, ready for change. Meanwhile, Tiffany, she's ghosted the headlines, living in Facebook land, posting filtered selfies and motivational quotes like none of it ever happened. The same woman who once earned $347,000 a year, more than the governor of Illinois, is now sitting with no power, no paycheck, and no public sympathy. And word on the street, she didn't even stack her money right. Because here's the brutal truth. When your leadership is built on clout, it collapses faster than your next post goes viral. Once the power's gone, the followers disappear too. No loyalty, no legacy, just echoes of what could have been. But this story isn't just about Tiffany Henyard. It's about what happens when leadership loses its way. And when a community finally wakes up. Dalton's awake now, wide awake. And this time, they're not falling back asleep. While Tiffany was chasing headlines, other names were grinding quietly. People like Edward Steve and Jason House. They weren't out for fame or clicks. They were in it for the community. No designer suits, no camera crews, just sleeves rolled up and hearts committed to serving. Here's the twist, though. Jason House didn't even want that mayor's chair at first. For years ago, the seat was his for the taking, and he turned it down. Why? Because real service doesn't need applause. He was out there doing the work without needing the spotlight. But when the scandals and dysfunction became too loud to ignore, Jason finally stood up and said, enough. And when he stood, the people stood with him. Dalton doesn't just owe Jason applause. They owe him respect. Because true leadership doesn't scream for attention. It moves in silence, gets its hands dirty, and does the work others won't. And while some will still try to twist the story, saying they just didn't want to see a black woman win, that excuse, it's worn out. That's not what this is about. Yes, being a black woman, a black man, a single parent, That's strength. That's identity. And identity matters. It inspires generations and pushes boundaries. But here's the thing. Identity can get you elected, but only integrity keeps you in office. Titles fade. Power shifts. But character? That's the one thing nobody can vote you out of. Because when it's all said and done, the job still has to get done. Cities like Dalton, Atlanta, Jackson, Montgomery, they're built on legacy, pride, and power. Being black isn't a limitation, it's leverage. But once you've got that seat, it's not about how you look holding it. It's about what you do with it. I'm from Sacramento, and let me keep 100. Out here, unless you're in LA or Oakland, that climb to the top, it's steep. That's why a lot of us look to cities like Detroit or Atlanta, places where black leadership meant something, where power moved the culture forward. But here's the thing. Those dreams only come alive when our leaders stop playing dress-up and actually do the work. Too many folks get the position and forget the purpose. They start chasing lights, not legacy. Suddenly, it's about followers, not follow-through. And when that happens, the people lose every single time. The neighborhoods crumble while the leaders are busy posing for cameras. And that's the problem. Leadership isn't a hustle. It's not a side gig. It's a sacred responsibility. You don't flex power, you honor it. If we don't wake up, we'll keep spinning in circles, watching communities decay while egos inflate. And make no mistake, this conversation ain't just about Tiffany Henyard. This is about leadership. About what you do when that ballot box gives you power. Because a vote isn't a trophy, it's a trust. It's the people saying, we believe in you. And when you betray that, you're not just disappointing voters. You're betraying your own community. That right there, that's the line between service and self-serving. Dalton's meltdown should be a warning sign, not just for one small town, but for every block, every city, every district dreaming of better. Because when you hand someone power, you better watch how they hold it. Do they use it to lift others or to lift themselves? Abuse it, twist it, chase fame instead of progress. And you'll end up just like Tiffany. Title gone, respect gone, legacy erased. What's left? Just selfies and silence. Real leadership isn't about how loud your name rings. It's about what remains when the noise fades. When you serve with integrity, leadership blesses you. It elevates you. It cements your name in stone. But the moment you start thinking you're untouchable, that's when the crumble begins. The money disappears. The fame evaporates. The influence? Gone in a blink. Because ego always eats its own empire. And speaking of collapse, let's talk about Kamal Woods. Yeah, that Kamal. The married man who got swept into Tiffany's little empire back when the checks were fat, the trips were first class, and the cameras couldn't get enough of her. When the shine was bright, he played the part, but now that the lights are off and the funds have dried up, you really think he's hanging around for cold leftovers and awkward silence? Please. That man's already halfway down the driveway, suitcase zipped, playlist on destination. Freedom. Because let's be honest, he was never in it for her. He was in it for the perks, for the access, for the image. And once the money dried up, so did the love, the power faded, and so did the loyalty. Tiffany's not just out of office. She's out of allies, out of support, out of time. And yeah, it hurts. But that pain, she built it herself. This is what happens when you treat leadership like a hustle instead of a calling. When you chase fame instead of legacy, eventually the applause stops, and all that's left is the echo of your own downfall.